What do you say when people say professional wrestling isn't real?
Mm. That particular sentence I'm okay with, as long as they don't say that it's fake.
Okay.
The word fake really pisses me off. Like, I don't know if you can see, probably not, but I have a bruise on my nose and a bruise right here and a scratch mark here from my match last weekend. That shit ain't fake.
Hmm.
Like, it's not fake. Um, I generally try to urge people, like, I'm not trying to language police anybody, but I would urge people to say something to the effect of, like, it is predetermined, right? It is planned, it is choreographed, right? Like, those things, I'm like, all right, sports entertainment, I get it. Like, you're right, fine. Um, but I think that it really delegitimizes wrestling as a sport, and as a career. When people are like, yeah, it's all bullshit anyway, anybody can do it. It's like, no, man, no, it's not true at all. Um, not anybody can do it. It's kind of like how people think, like, I'm funny, I can do stand up. All right, make a career out of it.
For sure.
I'd like, so I get a little, like, salty about it. But mostly I think people are well intentioned, and it's just like they're trying to make sense of the whole thing, because they're like, you're not hurt for real, right? And it's like, nah, man, let's chat.
For
So I
sure.
understand, like, both sides of that, I guess.
It's funny. It just made me think of something. When I was 10 years old, I went to the like state championship wrestling match for Minnesota. And it was
As
when,
a wrestler.
no, as a spectator, my dad wrestled in college, and then one of our family friends did the same at the University of Minnesota. And it was when Brock Lesnar was wrestling for the state championship, like as a or
Like
whatever.
Greco-Roman,
Yeah,
amateur.
yeah.
Yeah.
And around that same time, we went to SummerSlam, and I just bring it up because like it was a small, semi-filled gym for the best wrestlers in the state of Minnesota, and like I have friends that are like that style of wrestling that did it in high school. I have a lot of respect for it. My dad did it throughout
Yeah.
college and shit. But like there's clearly some market for the sports entertainment side of
Yeah.
wrestling, because I've been to stadiums full of people. Like it's almost like something like that on no pun intended, like on steroids. Like it's
Yeah. Yeah.
there's a version of this when it's hyped up, almost like Supercross or something, where like people just like to see the limits that things can be taken.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think that's really interesting. I've never been to an amateur wrestling show, match, whatever. Um, but it's kind of like it that makes me think of what we were talking about earlier, which is like sex sells. It's like, well, don't fucking be mad at me for being marketable. Like, don't be mad at anybody for being marketable, right? And there's a market for both things, but professional wrestling is, in my opinion, my very biased opinion, just more interesting to watch.
Yeah,
Especially because, like, the stakes are, everybody knows in their minds the stakes are a little bit lower, but the wrestlers make the stakes as high as possible because of their ability to portray character and storytelling, right? So I think that's an interesting observation. I would love to go and see, like, a high school wrestling. I think maybe I've seen one, but not it wasn't notable enough for me to actually remember if that's true or if I just made it up.
yeah, it's very different. Like
Yeah.
it's way
Yeah.
different. I mean, it just wrestling almost feels like monster trucks to me, like with
Yeah,
like pro wrestling, and
totally.
it's not something I could go to like every week, but I could definitely, if somebody said, "Hey, I'm going to this," I would definitely go. Like if you have an event here in Seattle, I for sure
Yeah.
will go, and like anybody listening, definitely please go.